So, it's Super Bowl Sunday. I know some of y'all are excited about the big game. You got your picks on who you think is going to win or lose. We are approaching Valentine's Day too, so I know some of y'all are excited about that. But it's Sunday. It's Sunday, man. This is the day we sit down and we get into our spiritual element. Gave you guys a couple days off. You notice I've been off a couple days. Just kind of giving y'all a break, man. But welcome back, man, to another Sunday. I just played that song. That's one of my favorite songs all time. It's actually in my top five gospel songs. Um, just thought I went to visit with my Queen Bee, man. My Queen Bee. Went and visit my Queen Bee uh, the other day, and man, every time I think about that song, it brings back memories. But the topic for today is he had permission. Before I get off into actually what that means, let me just say um, there are a lot of things that we go through and deal with in our personal lives or in our lives, and we wonder why we're going through them or why are we having to deal with certain things, whether it be death, we lose a job, or um, whatever the situation is. You always find yourself questioning why you. Um, I've had people in the past when things have happened, they say, man, why? Why would God allow this to happen to this person? Or why would God take this baby? Or why would God do this? And the reality of those things is simple. God has the ability to do whatever, whenever, however he see fit. We don't have to understand it. We don't even have to agree with it, but we have to accept it. That's the reality. And so the topic, he had permission. There was a guy in the Bible by the name of Job. Some of y'all may not be familiar with Job or may know nothing about Job, but Job is like one of my favorite characters in the Bible. Um, there was an instance. I'm gonna read it to you, but I'm just paraphrasing real quick. There was an instance where Job went through some things, a lot of things, um, and through all the things that Job was able to go through and put up with and be subjected to, Job remained faithful to God. Now, there are many things, and we'll get into it in a sec, but there are many things that happen to us now in current times where we do not remain faithful to God. We challenge everything God does, and we kind of lose sight of who's really in charge of things, right? So just follow me for a second while I read this to you. Um, I had this already ready to go, but excuse my vision. There are a couple of things I'm going to read to you. And I'm only reading this because I don't want anybody to feel like these are my words. I had to get my glasses on so I can see. Okay. The main message of the book of Job. The book's theme is the eternal problem of unmerited suffering. It's named after his central character, Job, who attempts to understand the suffering that engulfs him. Okay, just wanted to say that. Let's see. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. That man was perfect and upright, one that feared God and eschewed evil. And there was born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she asses, and a very great household. So this man was the greatest of all men in the east. He was rich, had a lot of stuff. His sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. Now I'm going to skip ahead real quick. Now, this is verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also was among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Where you coming from? Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth and walking up and down. And I'm out here just in these streets, man. I'm doing me, doing my thing. I'm doing what I do. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect man, upright, one that feareth God and eschews evil. Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Does Job fear God for naught? Does he really fear you for no reason? Hast thou made a hedge about him and about his house and about all that he has on every side? Meaning you covered him. Ain't nothing get to him. You got him covered. He protected. And then it says, Now there's blessed the work of his hands, and the substance is increased in the land. But put forth thy hand now, and touch all that he had, and he will curse thee to thy face. So, before I get into that, let's circle back. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job? Now, I had to repeat that for purpose. Then, the Satan, the devil, says, Have you not protected him? You covering him. Why would I consider him? There's nothing I'm going to be able to do with him. You got him covered. Verse 12 says, And the Lord said unto Satan, And the Lord God said unto Satan, Behold, all that he has is in your power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. You can have everything. You got it. I take my hands of protection off of his worldly goods, but you can't do nothing. Can't kill him. You take everything he got, you put him through all the pain and suffering you want, but spare his life. Now, I'm not going to get into, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to pin that because I got some stuff I need to put on your mind. Satan went from the presence of the Lord. God gave Satan permission to attack Job. The devil came from doing his due diligence, doing what he do, and God took it upon himself to offer Job to the devil. So now two things I want to point out to you. There's two things I want to bring to your attention. The first thing is when God offered Job, the devil knew that he I'm going to have to call you back. I'm live. I'll deal with it in a minute. The devil knew, sorry about that, there was nothing he was going to be able to do with Job because God had him protected. So before he just said, yeah, I considered him. I thought about it. I wanted him. I've been after him. He's been doing good stuff. I've been trying to get at him. But it defeats the purpose for me to go after something that I know I can't get. It's almost like you saying you won't rob a bank knowing it's heavily guarded. There's guards everywhere. You know you can't get in. So God said, you know what? I tell you what. You say he only doing this because I got him protected. You say he's only treating me this way because I'm covering him. I'm covering everything he has. Okay. You say he only believes in me because of what I've done. I tell you what. You now have my permission to have your way with him. Have your way with him. The devil got excited. He said, oh, man, have my way with him. What? So I can do what I want. I can do whatever I want to him. So God said, absolutely. But you can't kill him. You can do whatever you want to do to him. But you can't kill him. So now we know, you know, if you're familiar with the Bible and you're familiar with the story of Job, we know what happened. The devil took off. The devil took everything he had. From family to animals to money. The whole nine. The devil went in on him. Went in so bad on him that it even hurt him. Gave him all kind of pains and ailments. And yet, Job stayed the course. But the funny thing about when your faith is stiff and the people around you faith is not stiff, they always try to influence you. You ever notice that? Job is in a position to say, you know what? You can have it. Ain't that big of a deal to me. I'm going to deal with it. But here you have his wife saying, what are you doing? There's no way that God is who he say he is. And he's allowing you to be subjected to all of this. There's no way God can be as powerful as he is, and he's allowing you to lose everything you had. There's no way. And here Job is saying to his wife, relax. You know not what you say. Chill. I'm all right. Chill. But here you have her saying, no, I don't want to chill. It ain't right. He shouldn't be doing you like this. All you have done, the man you are, you've never done anything wrong. You perfect. You should not have to be going through what you're going through. Now, how many of y'all act like that now? How many of y'all have been in a situation where you have thought you have done everything right? You have thought you have lived according to the Bible. You have thought you have been your perfect self. And you ain't wronged nobody. You ain't did this and you ain't did that. And yet, you going through. You can't figure out why you got more bills than you got money. You can't figure out why your car keep breaking down. You can't figure out why your relationship ain't where it need to be. You can't figure out why your kids are not minding you when you say, or not listening to you when you say this and that. You can't figure it out. Because here you done been to church every Sunday. You paid your tithes. You done been brought up in the church. You done been raised in the church. You done been brought up to feel like if you do this, everything is going to be all right. You're not going to go through no bumps and bruises, no pains. You're not going to go through no peaks and valleys. That's a lie. Nothing can be further from the truth. If you have a man who is perfect, none of us are perfect. There ain't been but one perfect man in the world, and that's been Job. But if you have a man who has been perfect, who has done no wrong, who has treated people right, respected people, who has done everything by the commandments, yet you have God saying, you have my permission to attack him. I sign off on it. You have my consent to do whatever you feel you want to do to him. How is it that you think you special? How is it that you think you can meander around this earth without ever going through anything? It don't work like that. I hate to tell you, but it don't work like that. See, this is the reality of all things. Everybody is happy when things are great. Smiles are big. The energy is through the roof. Everybody is in a good mood when things are going great. Everybody. You don't see no bad vibes, or you don't go through any type of issues, or you don't have anything negative to say, because your life to you is grand. It's grand. But watch this. Watch this. As soon as God step in, because see, now, I don't know, some of y'all may not understand this, but the devil only wants people who are worth something. The devil only wants people who are worth something. You ever been to a pawn shop? Any of y'all ever been to a pawn shop? Well, not none of y'all. You people rich, you know. But if you ever been to a pawn shop and you tried to pawn something, the pawn shop will only take things of value. They won't take anything that has no value. They only want things of value. You understand? So the devil is no different. The devil don't want something up that doesn't have any value. The devil don't want somebody that's not doing things that are causing a stir. For what? You don't want that. The devil wants somebody he knows is causing a stir. But understand, the devil can only get you with permission. He can only get you with permission. And so understand, if the devil is attacking you, or you feel like the devil is after you, he's had permission. He's been given permission to come for you. He's been given consent God has signed off on it and said, you can go after him. I want to see what he going to do. Yeah. Absolutely. He's gotten permission. You have my permission now to go for him. Go knock on her door. You got my permission. Go knock on her door. I want to see how she reacts when I take her house from her. I want to see how he reacts when I take his job away from him. I want to see what happens when he loses a loved one. I want to see. I want to see if he has that same energy, like y'all so eloquently say, keep that same energy. God wants to see if you're going to keep that same energy when you're up, like when you're down. It's easy to say what you will do when you're not in that situation. We do it all the time. It's easy to say, oh man, I ain't worried about that. If it was me, I would have did this. Yeah, because it's not you. It's not you. We look at Job. Job lost everything. Every child he had, he lost. Except one, I believe. He lost them. All the animals, the sheep, he lost. He lost it all. He didn't lose one child. He didn't lose two. Think about that for a second. If you love I got 6 kids. 6, 3 girls, 3 boys. I can't even sit here and lie to you and tell you that if God was to take one of my children right now today, I would be excited about it. There's no way. I'd be all torn up. Because my faith still need work. I'm not going to sit there and pretend like if God took this from me, I would sit here and say, well, I deserve that. No. Absolutely not. Because guess what? I ain't made it that far yet. I haven't gotten that far yet. But I have gotten to the part, to as far as to understand that nothing happens in this life without God signing off. Nothing. You can believe what you want. It's facts. Everything you go through in this life that you feel like you didn't deserve to go through, every torment, every pain, every ache, every heartache, every struggle, everything you feel like you had to endure unfairly, God had to sign off on it. You ain't got to like it. You ain't even got to agree with it. But the reality is, you got to accept it because you are not the person who is in control. Stop acting like everything revolves around how you think. That ain't how it works. That ain't how it works. Stop acting like just because you in this position today, you gonna forever be in this position. That ain't how it works. It ain't how it works. Because at some point, the devil is gonna come looking for you. Yeah. At some point, the devil is going to come knocking on your door. Absolutely. But before he can get you, before he can attack you, he has to ask for permission. He has to ask for permission. You do know that, right? There's no way he can just go and get you freely. He has to have permission before he can get you. That's why some of y'all be confused. You be trying to figure out, well, why would he allow this to happen to this person and not this person? Why would he allow this person to go through this and not this person? Because he can do that. He can do that. I told you, ain't been but one person in the world. Don't get so confused as to thinking you have all the answers. You don't have them. You don't have them. Funny thing, I had a, I've mentioned this before, some time ago. One of my uncles passed away not too long ago, and we left church one Sunday. He had just finished doing a sermon, hadn't preached a sermon in forever. He had just finished doing a sermon, and we get home. I took him home, and we get to his house, and he had to prepare this dinner. We sit down, and we eating dinner, and we just talking. He's telling me stories about his past. He's telling me stories about things that he went through, experiences he had went through in the past. And as I'm taking these stories in, I'm shocked. I'm completely blown away because I saw him one way. I looked at him and I saw one person. I never realized he had a past. I never realized he wasn't always a deacon, a pastor. I forgot that. Because for me, all I saw was my uncle at church. Person I knew. I never knew him before he became a pastor or a deacon. When I knew him, he was already in this position. As a deacon, he became a pastor, but he was already in the church when I knew him, when I was introduced to him. You understand what I'm saying? So, hearing the stories, I started saying, what? Oh, you did that? No, I don't believe that. There's no way I'm going to believe you did that. Yeah, I did that. I used to be that person. I used to do this. Yeah, I DJ for y'all, those you don't know. I DJ on the side. And I DJ'd a while back, and I saw a couple of my aunties were getting it. I mean, they were in the groove. And it surprised me because I never knew that my aunties could get down like that. Because I only saw them a certain way. I never saw them in any other light, if that makes sense. So, the point I'm making, because I don't want to miss anybody, but the point I'm making is this. Everybody has a past. Everybody has done some things they're not proud of. Everybody has been in positions or situations to where you may have done something you're ashamed of doing. But here's the deal. I don't want to lose nobody, but here's the deal. Here's the deal. Who hasn't? I just told you there's only been one perfect man that we're aware of. And that was Job. So who hasn't? Which of us has never done something that we're ashamed of doing? Which of us have never been in a position in which we don't want nobody? Which of us have ever been in this state? We all have. Each of us have. But understand, just because you've been in that situation, that don't make anybody else any better than you, or you better than anybody else. Everything you go through and will continue to go through, God had to give permission for it to happen. He had to sign off on it, people. You cannot, I keep telling you, you cannot give a testimony without going through something. You can't do it. There's no way you can give somebody a synopsis of what happened to you and how you made it out if you hadn't yet been in it. You got to go through it. And watch this. See, I didn't get to the bigger picture with Job because I wanted to get into to the meat and potatoes. But here's the deal: if you're familiar with the Bible and you're familiar with Job, everything Job lost, everything he lost, he got back tenfold. Yeah, everything he lost, everything the Lord allowed God, the devil, to take from him, God gave back tenfold. So just because God allows the devil to test you, that don't mean he abandoned you. Just because he allowed the devil to do work with you, that don't mean he threw you by the wayside. He's still watching. You still belong to him. Nevertheless, you still his. But we get to a point where we feel like, oh man, I'm on the bottom. I'm down and out. I'm all the way down. Ain't nowhere else for me to go but up. I ain't got nothing else to lose. Instead of saying, I trust you still. Yeah, you took it. I trust you still. Yeah, I lost that, but I trust you still. Yeah, I'm going through it. I don't know how I'm going to get out of it, but I trust you still. Once we get into the reality of saying, you know what? It don't ever matter what happens to us. It only matters how we respond. Doesn't matter what we go through. That doesn't matter how much we hurt or how much we deal with this or that. It only matters how we respond. That's all that matters. How many of y'all have been in situations, think about this for a second, you've been in situations where you've been hurting, you've been struggling, you've been going through it, you've been putting up and dealing with this and that and the third, and nobody can tell. You've been carrying a heavy load, but nobody can tell. You've been walking with your head up stiff. Stiff. You've been walking through like ain't nothing wrong. And it feels like the whole world is about to crash on your shoulders. You know why you've been doing that? Because you've realized you don't have control over it. You've realized you've allowed it. You've allowed yourself to let go of that and allow God to do whatever it is He's gonna do with that situation. That's why. That's why. You don't walk around. It don't do you no good to walk around with problems on your shoulders. Don't do you no good to walk around with pain on your face. It don't do you no good to walk around with hurt coming out your mouth. Why? What good is it gonna do you? Only somebody that's gonna be able to change it is him. Your friends ain't gonna be able to fix that. No. The family ain't gonna be able to fix that. The pastor ain't gonna be able to fix that. Ain't but one somebody's gonna be able to fix that situation. That's him. Because he's the same person who put you in this situation. He's the same person who allowed you to jump into the lion's den. Him. Yeah. How many times have you went through something? You lost a job. And you started stressing, started thinking, man, I don't know how I'm gonna pay these bills. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. You know, I can't figure it out. And then you get a better job. A better job comes along that pays you twice the money. Or you become self-employed. Now you work for yourself. How many times? How many times have your children been through things and you having a conversation with your children saying, hey man, listen, don't worry about that. It's gonna be fine. Things gonna take care of themselves. And guess what? Everything work out for the good. That ain't your doing. Ain't got nothing to do with you. That's God. That same God that allowed the devil to test you is the same God that can reach down and pull you right out. Yeah. The same God that dropped you in the lion's den is the same God that can say, peace, be still, and put his hand there and pull you right out of the lion's den without being touched. The same God. The same God. So don't get confused into thinking everything is under your control. It ain't. Nothing's under your control. The devil cannot attack you without permission, people. He can't come for you without permission. You ever heard people say, don't come for me unless I send for you? You know, some of y'all probably said that. Don't come for me unless I send for you. I hope y'all enjoyed y'all Sunday, man. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Happy Sunday, man. I'm out of here. Stay humble. And don't ever forget. Don't ever forget. It's only one somebody running the show. One. Y'all be good.